Next job coming up. I think we got a broken rocker. Let's see. So look how wide open this Paccar motor is. Or just removed the breather. Wide open. I like that. Hey, Paccar. See what we get, babe. So this is what we got. When you go to crank it or start it up, you can hear it sounds like a thudding right up against the doghouse, which makes you think it's cylinder, the back cylinder here for 6. And we look at the push rods. They all look pretty decent, except for 6. Looks pretty bent. We gotta dig it a little more, see where we go. So it looks like we do have what I originally thought was a problem with rocker arms and push rods. I haven't gotten to the cam yet, but here's this. As you can see, 6 good intake and exhaust are bent. Plastic's broke. This one is bad. This one, it won't even move. It's supposed to be free. This one is even getting caught over here. It shouldn't be that hard to move still, but I can't even. Literally get that one to move. That's what we got. So here's what we got going on with this Paccar motor, which I got most of it taken apart now. It is the rocker arm issue, which we looked at yesterday. I have 6 taken off here. Don't really feel too much wear. But I do see there on this intake, on that back side there, that's where it was catching. Season. What am I? That is the issue. I also had to find a way to check the cam blow run out, which I hooked up a dial indicator, bored the engine over, and went from 5 to 6 to see if I got similar readings. Unfortunately, it's not the most accurate, probably 10,000ths of an inch off. But it's probably from the push rods itself, that difference. But we've got pretty much 3.5 coming from intake on cylinder number 5 and cylinder number 6, so they're pretty much the same. And we don't have anything like a catastrophic as far as the cam goes like that. But we did find this issue with the rockers. That's the way she goes sometimes. Okay, we're back. So I just got these new mic setups. It took me forever to get this thing set up. I don't know if I'm just illiterate or what the heck, but it think I'm coming through pretty good now. I had to eliminate a lot of the back noise going on in the shop for the heaters and stuff. I think we should be good. So last week we left off with rocker arms and push rods bent in the Paccar motor. I have new rocker arms and I have new push rods. So the assembly on these, kind of pretty straightforward. There is a through rod here that goes through the tie downs. I'm not so sure what we would call those, just like a mount, rocker arm mount, and then the through rod, and then the rockers, exhaust, and intake. So there is a bolt that is holding on each. Oh, well, there's only 2 mounts on here on each one. So in order to get a rocker arm out, you have to remove these bolts. There's one single bolts that are tied in at the bottom here, and then go through the push rod, or not the push rod, but the through rod that holds everything in place. Simple. I had some Loctite on there, some blue Loctite. We're probably going to put some more on there just to get it seated and make sure it doesn't come out. But yeah, I'm going to go through adjusting valves, torquing all these bolts down, putting back in our push rods, and we broke this plastic piece that kind of holds. If you look there, it's like a stabilizer maybe. To kind of stabilize the push rods because there is back and forth play in there. But we got a new one of those because I broke it up. I'm sure I broke the last one. And we're going to unbox some rocker arms. So there's the plastic piece. Here's our push rods. Exhaust and intake. And our rockers. And I don't know if this motor has ever had an overhead adjustment on here, but I know if it hasn't, it's probably due for one. So we're just going to go ahead and do all of them. If you look in here, this is really brand new, nice. No heat, no stress, looks good. Well, there is a problem. It gave me 2 exhausts. Good. sometimes it's my problem. Probably should have checked the markings on the box to see if I had an intake and exhaust, because it's clearly labeled there on the box. But dang it, man. It's what I asked for. An intake and exhaust. Not two exhausts. An intake and exhaust. But that's okay. I had to return parts back to Tempe, and JX was on the way. But we have our parts now. Start hooking it up. Here's our exhaust. As you can tell, the exhaust is bigger, larger, and it also has a Jake on it. I'm also going to use some oil to lubricate everything here. Decent. Everything. Oh, much better movement on there. Set in there nice. Trying to make sure everything works here. Everything feels smooth. go back together with everything. And, I need to get this. This is like a set bolt in here. Put some Loctite on there. Little dab will do ya. This bolt is what keeps the rocker arms and mounts all secured in place. And there's just one on either side. I can't remember if I told you guys that or not. So we'll get that torqued down. Okay, so we just got our dowel pin bolts put back into our rocker assembly. These torque down to 48 foot-pounds. And we on there. So I went and cleaned off the threads of the bolt. Also added the Loctite back on there. And they torque down to 48 foot-pounds for the two dowel bolts that kind of hold the rocker arm assembly in place to the rear shaft that's on there. Now we can get started putting everything back on the motor. So I'll try to do as much as I can to make sure y'all are seeing everything. But I can only do so much here. We're gonna get this lined up here. Definitely had that backwards. Okay. And that's how we lined that up there. Get a good view somewhat. I I know this isn't going to torque down to a crazy amount. This is just like keepers in here pretty much. So, there really isn't much to these little guys. I'm trying to stay out of the light here. Start in the middle here. Sorry if you're seeing all my shadows. I'm really not torquing these down just yet. Kind of get everything hand tight and equal across here. I mean, all this is just a piece of plastic. I'm trying to break this thing. Probably really don't torque down too much, maybe like 15 foot-pounds, if that. But we're going to check and see what the specs might be. Pushrods. Bad boys up. Exhaust, intake. Sure they're seated in there pretty good. They kind of suction cup when they go in there. Okay, let's get the rocker. to sit as nice as I can in here. Check we're lined up. Looks good, looks good. Rocker arm bolts. Should get all these bad boys in there. So I get everything hand tight. Before you start tightening everything down. Sure, get everything started. No cross threads. No cross threaded. Don't be doing that crap, man. Okay, so we got the rocker arms torqued down. It's 55 foot-pounds and then another 90 degrees that you got to do on there. And the way I go on these, I kind of go slow. I take my time. I start in the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Just like torquing lug nuts or much like anything else, you just kind of working your way from the middle to the outside. Kind of go opposites of each other. But we got that inside tack down. Now I got to start adjusting the valves. The fun part, you. Can you see it? Come on, get in there, dog. There you go. Intake. I'm thinking I'm gonna have to put this at some kind of weird angle. Usually it's kind of angled out here, so I'll put it like a 90-degree. I don't know. I like these too. So you can usually put like a intake and exhaust, but the Paccar has this for the Jake brakes as well as the exhaust, which is, see it there, 28 thousandths. But we're gonna have to go under. We'll bore the engine over, kind of figure out where we're at, which I think we're already on 6, but those are brand new, so they're gonna be loose anyways. Yeah, so I'll take you under, we'll bore the motor over and show you the markings on the flywheel. Okay, so we'll go under here, see where we're at. I've already got my half-inch ratchet underneath here. Ooh, this is so cold. I didn't know it was gonna be that cold. Dang. So we're boring the motor over, figuring out where our adjustment's gonna be. And we'll just start with whatever comes up here. Looks like 3 and 4. So we'll stop there. And that's the boring tool, just like that. I got it off of Amazon. Nice, easy. That's where we'll start. Alright, we're back here again. So on these newer 2017 motors, you have the Jake brake built into the rocker arm. Back here is what's going to actuate the Jake brakes and the valves, the exhaust valves. Up here is where you need to pull your measurement, and you're not going on the bridge. You're going in the gap between this plunger and rocker. Right through here on either side. If you can see, my feeler gauge kind of fits right in there. And we're going to adjust it. Okay, so there, it's pretty tight. Just loosen it up a little bit. I mean, that's pretty good right there. I can feel a slight drag on there. Kind of cleaning the oil off. So that's where I'm going to leave it. It took me a minute to kind of figure out what the heck was going on, because I know there was no way I'm pulling off putting the feeler gauge in between the bridge down here. There just wasn't any room for me to do that. So with these newer 2017s, the later ones, you do adjust here on the bridge. You're like right here. But because of the update here with the rocker arms and the jakes, you are going right here in between. So there's like a little lip, and you really got to get down in there to see. But you're going off at either end. That you're getting it. And adjusting either side. That's a first for me. I've not really delved into many of the Paccars, but that's how you adjust. That's how you adjust the exhaust rocker. Okay, so since I have the old rocker arm off of the exhaust, I'm just going to go ahead and show you underneath here. So this would be sitting like this, correct? You have your feeler gauge and you're going up underneath here, which if you look here, as I turn it over, you're going in here. That is where you're going. And to fit that in there. See how much their room is right now, because there's a spring in here that gets compressed down with the valve. If I were to press down on this, you can see the movement. As you press, you adjust back here, it compresses that spring inside of here, and this is where you pull your measurement off of. There. There. Different, but that's it. But now we'll go ahead and get these torqued down. I'll adjust the rest of the valves pretty much exactly the same way. We bore it over, and you want to get the motor turned over twice, because even though we're on 3 and 4, you're only going to be able to adjust one, the one that's loose, and the valves are completely closed on. So the valves are closed. You can move your rocker arm. It has a little bit of play. You can see that. The exhaust on this one is not going to have play. It's not going to have any play whatsoever, or at least what you can notice, because it's like they're already loaded and you pull your measurement from underneath here like we just went over. But as you can see on 4, there is no intake play. It's because these valves are starting to open here, but there is on number 3. So in order to get back to 4, we have to go 360, and we should be able to adjust number 4. And Same process with the rest of them. So that's what we're going to do.